up?
Hey, Chanel, how are you today?
I'm good. I was trying to see where we're live at, but now I found it. So I'm gonna go just pop us in the group since Reach Stream acting all funky and don't want to let us be there.
We're learning lots of new things on this Monday, aren't we?
Absolutely. It's
Awesome.
not
Well, for
Monday or
those,
anything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. For those of you watching, I am not Donna St. Louis, but I am Doug Stanfley, and I am the
Mhm.
Fire Savvy Client Concierge and Mindset Coach. And I have a special guest with me today, our Fire Savvy co-founder, Miss Chanel Evans. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Chanel.
Hey, so I'm Chanel, business advisor, marketing strategist, co-founder of Fire Savvy. So if you're watching on one of the Fire Savvy pages, hey, what's up? Put a name with the face. I'm Chanel. And where I specialize in specifically is helping clients smash through their revenue ceilings and attract more of their dream clients so that they can do all of the amazing work they love, but not have to feel like they are overly convincing or overly thinking about, just how they're bringing people into their world.
Awesome. And Chanel, thank you for spending some time with me today because where this idea came from was one of our clients, Keisha A. Rivers.
Mm,
She's amazing, empowering leaders, equipping them for change. And
mhm.
one of the things that she was telling me about the other day was just language matters
Yeah.
and our words attract. And she was giving an example of one of her clients and how they were interviewing and
Mm,
using the word family to describe their business.
mhm.
And she said, but what if family means something completely different to somebody else that you're trying to bring on your team? Like, what if
Yeah.
it means, oh, I'm only going to see you every other weekend kind of
Yep.
thing? And all of a sudden, I started thinking about this. Wow, the power of our words and what do words attract? And then I'm
Mhm.
like, I want to talk about this. Who should I ask? And then I'm like, I know who to ask,
Mhm.
our expert on client attraction.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, what are some of the things that you see people doing on the internet streets right now? And what are some of those keys to client attraction that maybe people don't even realize
Mhm.
are much more important than they've ever considered?
Yeah, so the first thing that jumps out to me when you were sharing that is a lot of times what we do as experts, business owners, coaches, consultants, we go automatically into solution mode. And
Mm,
not necessarily, I'm not even talking about on the phone. I'm just talking about just
right.
in terms of how we think and how we engage with our clients. We go into solution mode. And in going into solution mode, we jump right into like our language. We are the experts and we assume that because we're in solution mode, our dream clients understand our language. And so just using terms that we are super familiar with, but like our clients or our dream clients, potential clients might not be familiar with. So needing to kind of slow down a little bit and then connecting the dots between where I am speaking and then put myself in my client's shoes. The other thing that kind of pops out to me when you were sharing that is knowing our clients and our potential clients well enough that we know what their journey is and what have they tried before they have gotten to us, because our clients that we want to work with, they are powerful, they're ambitious, they are high achievers. So they've gotten to some level of success, but at the same time, depending on the type of business that we're in, that level of success may have come with some fears, it may have come with some traumas, it may have come with some doubts or insecurities. And so, if we don't really understand where our client has been in that journey, we could use words or use terms that might just be regular words, like Keisha said, like I'm building out this coaching community and it's a family. Whereas somebody, if we really understood their journey, we might understand that family don't mean the same thing to everybody. And we might be repelling them instead of attracting them if we're not really sure about the words that we're using to bring them in, but also the words that might be triggering or just kind of cause a little bit of pause depending on where they're coming from.
You just brought up a couple great points that I hadn't even considered yet in terms of really understanding who your ideal and dream clients
Mhm.
are. And when you're talking about repelling and attracting, one of the things I'd love to get your opinion on is when people sometimes speak to someone's fears, because there's kind of that old marketing tactic,
Mhm.
like you got to like hit all their pain points
Yeah.
like that versus speaking to their desires.
Hmm.
And I'm curious if you can talk about that just a little bit in terms of helping understand, like sometimes people may not realize it, but you might be triggering trauma
Hmm.
and not like you're not tapping into your client's desires. And I'm wondering like what's the difference and what do you suggest there?
Yeah. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation because I'm literally just had two really distinct conversations where we were talking about this in terms of pain, but then also being able to relate with your clients, right? And so a lot of times, like our clients are coming to us, and the way that this person described it was beautifully. She was like, they already know they're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yep.
They're coming to you as the coach, as the consultant to shine a little bit of light. And the way that I do that in like my content, but also when I'm chatting with potential clients is I'm like, okay, yes, we know we got to know what they've tried before. We have to understand their journey. We understand the hard stuff and we understand the hard place that they're in. But getting them out of that mode and then saying, okay, 6 months from now, 90 days from now, whatever, so every business is going to be different, right? Depending if you are a daycare center, for example. I use our client Nicole. Her clients come to her because they need daycare like in 2 weeks. So she might be thinking, okay, what do you want to celebrate 2 weeks from now? Our clients, they're coming to us, for our 6-week sales academy, for example. Okay, 6 weeks from now, what does that look like for you? Because then now if we can paint a picture of where they want to be, now we don't necessarily have to keep focusing on the pain. We can shine light on the things that they want to win at.
Yeah. I love when you said shine a light. It got me thinking a couple different directions. So
Mhm,
it got me thinking, how do you shine your light online?
mhm.
And then also like, okay, and now how do you take that into the in-person
Yeah,
arena?
yeah.
And so I'd love to give you a chance to come on a national because I know one of the things that you are famous for is that red pen moment.
Yeah.
Congrats again on your podcast that just
Thanks.
launched last Friday. Top 100, right?
Top 100. I literally just found out that this weekend I'm top 100 in the US and in Canada. So
Oh my gosh! Congratulations. That's awesome. Structure and soul, right? Structure
yeah.
and soul. So if you haven't checked it out, if you're listening, you haven't checked out Chanel's podcast, please do it. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
But one of those things you're famous for is that red pen moment where it's
Mhm.
correction with love.
Yeah.
You have this amazing ability to look at someone's post, to
Mhm.
look at their profile, to look at their timeline, and you instantly recognize things that either attract or repel.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like what goes into that formula? What goes into what you see and feel?
Yeah. Sometimes I gotta put my little spidey sense on and little secret glasses. But what I'm really good at is I'm good at seeing what people say, but sometimes people say things without words, right? So it might
Yes.
be the type of words they use. It might be the image or the photo that they attach to the post. It might be, just little subtle things that I pick up and I'm like, that person is winning. There's a different energy when we write a post from a place of when we're winning, when we're high, right? Versus when we
Mm,
write posts when we write posts on a bad day or when we create content on a day that we're just not right quite like feeling ourselves, we're not feeling like, a superhero that day. That energy, it really does come through in the content. And so I love when I kind of read posts and people are like celebrating their wins. But even there's a different way of when you're losing, right? Nobody wants to think about the losing moments. But even when you write a post about, hey, this was challenging for me in my business, but this is what I learned from it. Was a pivot for me in my life, but this is where I learned from it. Even if it is a dark moment, sometimes the language that we use is like, yes, this was dark, but here's the light that came from it. Here's what I learned and walked away from it versus almost like you're bleeding on your timeline. And so there's a subtle way that you can share and be vulnerable and be transparent rather, without you bleeding on your timeline. And the words that you use matter, but the energy behind it matters too.
Wow, I think this is such a huge point, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. But when you were just sharing about the energy behind it,
Mhm,
my mindset coach, you know her well, Dr.
mhm.
Renee, she talks about, using your words, using your language from a regulated state.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times people get on social media and they're not in a good place. You can
Mhm,
tell they're not regulated. And I think they're trying to be authentic and transparent,
mhm.
vulnerable, but they're not coming from an aligned place where the
Yeah,
energy is right.
yeah,
And so it really reminds me, like, alignment before action. Like, make sure you're in a good feeling state. Make sure you're in
mhm,
a good place before you try to share some of those messages. So I really
yeah,
appreciate that energy factor first, right?
mhm, mhm,
Very cool. Um, so part of what you do is social media, it's the online space,
mhm.
helping people attract more clients.
Yeah,
What I'm really, really excited about is you have created a new methodology
mhm,
to not only help people, in that online space, but to also help them in person in
yeah,
terms of attracting their ideal and dream clients. And it has a very cool name,
yeah.
the pink flamingo method. So,
Mhm.
my first question for you is what was going on in your world that made you create and come up with the pink flamingo method?
Yeah, so it's one of those things that we tell our clients all the time. Our clients will come to us and we're building out their offers, and they're like, "Well, I don't have a framework." I'm like, "You do have a framework. It's the stuff that you do that when a client comes to you, you do it so naturally you don't recognize that you have a framework for it."
Mm,
So I'll credit, Deanna for kind of prompting me to put this on paper because, she hosts these collab retreats, and I spoke at one of the retreats. And one of the things that I kind of recognize with our clients is, and recognize quite honestly within Fire Savvy and within myself, in terms of broadening the audience, you can get to a place where you feel like you're talking to the same people over and over again online,
mm. Yep.
and you get to a place, you have a decent following, you have good engagement, but it's like I feel like I'm talking to the same people over and over again. And so Deanna really wanted me to kind of share, and so I was like, okay, I got a framework for this because I do this, so how, let me just put it on paper. And so that's what prompted it was two things. One, because I needed to teach it to somebody, so I needed to put it on paper in a way that was logical to understand. But then I also needed to look back and say, okay, in the past 90 days, here's what I was able to do in our business. I was able to say, okay, we've hit a revenue ceiling. I've built a decent social media following. I feel like I'm talking to the same people over and over again. They love me, they're engaging. At the same time, I don't think that this is my audience anymore. So
Mhm.
going out and really tapping into my local influence, being a part of organizations that have both in-person element, whether it's networking or learning, but then they also have a digital footprint. So I can expand in both. I can expand locally in person, but then now I can also build that reputation and rebuild, if you want to call it, my social media, my digital space. And I'll tell you, just applying again what I know and have done that works, it literally has added probably multiple six figures just in a very short,
Wow.
6 time frame
Yeah.
to our bottom line by being a real person, showing up in your local space. And local is relative. Sometimes people are like, well, I live in a small town, but well, okay, well then let's not just focus on the zip code that you're in, but find an in-person place that where you can learn, grow, add value, but also you can be valued and be poured into as well.
Yeah. Well, and what's so exciting about this is that now you've taken this local superstar firm with the Pink Flamingo method, and
Mhm.
now we're incorporating that into the sales academy as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And so I'd love for you to share a little bit like how that all works and
Mhm.
what makes it so exciting. And this is coming up right around the corner here. So
Yeah, it's coming up right around the corner, and I think what it will definitely do is it's going to reframe how people think of sales, but also not just going for the sale, but how do you build
mm,
relationships?
yep.
How do you build relationships so that okay, the person that I meet at that networking event, they might not be my dream client, but they have access to my dream client. They have
Right.
access to refer me to for more speaking engagements that have my dream client. So I love it because it's not just we really work with our clients on more curiosity based framework. That's what our sales superstar framework is, on how to ask the next best question. How do you make sales more effortlessly? Because it's really a conversation. But the adding in that pink flamingo method is saying, okay, how do you build relationships that can get you more of those sales conversations, more of those conversations? Because yes, you can have the framework, but if you ain't got nobody to be on your calendar to use the framework, the sales framework, then is all for naught. You got a framework, but you don't know how to use it. So I'm working with clients on, okay, let's build your audience. Let's get people on your calendar. But more importantly, doing it in a way that blends what they're doing in person and then expanding their digital footprint as well.
Yeah. Okay. So now you've got people peaked here.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's listening and they're like, yes, I need that. I need to know how to build those relationships. I need to know how to find that new playground, right?
Yeah.
I need to know how to sell, not only, in person, but online, from the stage, that kind of thing. What are the next best steps that people can take right now?
Yeah. So the very first thing to do, and I'll make sure it's in the chat, is to identify one place that, like Doug said it perfectly, a playground. One place that you can meet in person, that people will see your face, they will hear your voice. You can either add value, or it's a place for you to learn and meet with decision makers. Just one. Ideally, that one place, let's make it plain for people. So that might be like your local chamber of commerce. Maybe that's an association like the National Association of Women Business Owners. Maybe it's an industry focused organization. But find one place today and say, okay, I got between now and the end of the year to build relationships. I need one place to do that. And, go on Google, you can go on Eventbrite, but find one place that is hosting in-person events that you can go out and people get to know you and you can start to build some relationships.
You just said something, Chanel, that some people probably just didn't even pick up, but I certainly did, because this has changed my whole approach to sales. You said identify one place where you can add value and learn and meet people. You didn't say where you can find a bunch of people to sell to.
Exactly.
And I would love for you just real quickly to speak on why that approach is so much more effective in terms of adding value and learning about other people and meeting other people in terms of that relationship building process.
Yeah. So this is a perfect example. So Thursday, I'm a ambassador with my chamber, and they host monthly networking. So I'm going to a networking event, and I'm going to a networking event in like the next city over. Right. So it's not like in my zip code, it's the next city over.
Yep.
And so I'm going to go, and I want you to imagine I meet you at the bar. And that's my little secret, but that's usually where I meet people. I'll meet them while I'm at the food or at the bar, right? Because everybody going to gravitate towards there. But I want you to imagine I'm ordering my glass of wine, you ordering your ice water. I say, hey, Doug, what's up? This is what I do. I ask a little bit about you, and then I immediately hand you a business card. And then say, oh, by the way, I'm hosting, an in-person retreat next year. It's $4,000. Would you like to come? You literally are going to be like, girl, what? Like, I literally ordered my water and just showed up.
Want some snacks.
Yeah, I just want some snacks. And how here you are selling me this $4,000 thing. However, obviously, not only are you going to say no, not only are you going to avoid me the rest of the night, but also you're going to avoid me online. You're not going to connect with me, because you're going to be like, I already know what she's about. And not saying that everybody that does that is trying to sell you a $4,000 thing, but the thing is that they're trying to automatically talk about themselves and not about you. Versus if we are at the same scenario, I'm ordering my Pinot Grigio, you're ordering your ice water with lemon. And I say, hey, Doug, cool meeting you here. What's going on in your world that brought you out on a rainy night?
That part.
Now you're going to open up a little bit. Now we're going to have some conversation. Now we're going to dialogue, right? I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm
Right.
truly trying to understand, why are you here? What do you want to get from it? All right, cool, though. This was an awesome conversation. Where do you hang out online at? Oh, you hang out on LinkedIn? Let's connect. I literally right there at the bar, I put my glass of wine down. I literally at the bar, hey, Duck, how do you spell your name? I go and I connect with you on LinkedIn. And then if, let's say, for example, I have to send a message, hey, I'm connecting from, the Chambers in-person meeting. Looking forward to continuing the conversation. So now we're connected on social. Now we've had a conversation. You know more about me. I know about you. We probably talked about business, but we probably also talked about the Lions game. We might have talked about, the weather. We might have talked about our kids. We might have talked about a host of other things, right?
Yeah.
But now when you get back home on Friday and you go look at your LinkedIn and go through your list of people you need to approve, and there's Chanel that we just hung out at the bar together. And I'm like, hey, I'm connected from the chamber, and you accept. Now you're seeing my content. Now you are seeing a little bit more about me. Now you're learning my methodology. Now you're seeing how I can work with clients. So now if I hop into your DM again, or I see you on outside again, hey, Chanel, like, I thought I heard you got this academy coming up. I see you, girl, you're doing your, retreats. It accelerates the relationship building, accelerates the know and the like and the trust.
What is so fascinating about this is there was no rocket science there, Chanel. It was just a very logical step by step, but it was very organic.
Yeah.
It was curiosity based and it was authentic.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And it's about being a person.
Being real.
Yeah, it's about being a person, just having conversation and not always looking to get something from every single person you meet.
Yeah, I love that. So last thing I just want to hit on here, because I am so excited about this, and I know you are too, is that there's a lot of different, sales approaches out there. And we've got our academy coming up. One of the things that I personally love about the academy is it's like an implementation camp. So you are actually doing the thing and you are earning while you're learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I wanted you to just speak to how this is intentionally designed that way and what makes it different than a lot of the other things that are out there.
Yeah, so it's not a virtual conference. And by that, I mean, you log in, you take some notes, and then at the end of the 6 weeks, you hope it works. Or worse, I've been in sessions before where you sign up, you can't even ask the coach questions because they're like, no, don't ask the question. Pop it in the chat. We'll answer it later because we're recording this so it can go into the platform later, right?
Right.
It's almost like they're coaching for the replay. No, we're coaching based on who's in the room, based on the situations that come up. But more importantly, it is a learn, go do. So week 1, yes, you're going to learn something, but how do you best learn and how do you best know if it's working? You're about to go do something. So week 1, you're going to learn, you're going to go do. Week 2, you're going to report back. Hey, I tried this. I got questions about it. Hey, I tried this. This worked. I got questions. How do I switch it up? So learn, go do. And then what's beautiful about the Sales Academy is that we built in a 21-day sales challenge. So not only are you learning and go doing, but you're selling. And it is the most brilliant way to be able to, people always are like, I don't know if I'm gonna get my return. You're literally gonna get your return because you're selling in the middle of the academy. Our clients have walked away with contracts, multiple 5-figure contracts, multiple 5-figure deals, recurring, income, new approach. So, and last thing that I love about this is that you're not just learning it for that 6 weeks, you're learning it because now you can implement it into your business every single time you have a sales call, every single time you're on a stage.
Yeah. So it's just going to keep paying forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. One of our clients literally today, Teresa just said that she closed 3 clients in this past weekend. And this was, she did the Sales Academy, 2 times ago, three sessions ago. So you learn something, and now it's still reaping you the benefits.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy for her. I love
Mhm.
that. I love that. So
Yeah.
our next academy is starting next week
Yeah.
on October 3rd.
Mhm.
We've got the link down at the bottom there, salessuperstar.net/academy.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just pass this off to you and let you close us out here before we sign off today.
Yeah, so if you got questions, hit me or Doug up in the DMs, comment on this video. You're gonna get us, you're gonna get, we're gonna answer your questions ourselves. And here's the thing, we ain't gonna try and sell you into it
No.
because if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. Well, just kind of guide you through to make if it makes sense. And then if you've been following for a while, you already know it makes sense. You've been hearing about other people that have gotten the wins from it. Go to salessuperstar.net/academy. Hold your spot. And yeah, we look forward to really jump starting this next academy round, this next cycle, because every time the client wins just get bigger and bigger.
They really do, and that's what's so exciting is just watching that transformation
Mhm.
over those few short weeks, but because they're actually doing the thing
Yeah.
and getting that real-time guidance, support, advisory, the
Mhm.
coaching that you and Donna, and the whole group
Yeah,
provides. Because it
absolutely.
really is, you're not there out there on your own too, and I love
Mhm.
that team component to everything that we do and stuff. So it's sort of like a built-in accountability just
Yeah.
because you want to do well because you want to help others do well and you don't want to let anybody down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Chanel. It
Yeah.
is always a pleasure. And if you saw me looking down, it's because I was taking more notes because I cannot have a conversation with you without pulling away all kinds of gems, even though we talk all the time.
Uh-huh. No, this was great. I
so,
appreciate it.
so thank you very much and look forward to talking again soon.
Yep.